Hey lovers and learners, I'm Beverley Andre, licensed marriage and family therapist, and around here we don't just talk about love, we explore the emotional layers behind it. And in today's conversation, one that I've been really excited about, we are talking about the show that really snuck up on me and left a mark. Forever, the new Netflix series created by Mara Brock Akil. And so we're not doing a review, we're not doing a recap of all the episodes. We're just having a real conversation about the emotional weight and cultural beauty of a story that explores Black love, identity, and expression. And joining me in this conversation today is actor, fellow fan of the show, and South Central LA native, Tristen Winger, who made his television acting debut as the beloved Doug Yoda in Issa Rae's Insecure and has starred in CBS's So Help Me Todd. So all accolades aside, we're here as two fans who connected over this show, and we're just so excited to talk about it today. And we're just gonna hop right into it. I really want to get into the depiction of Black love and family on this show. And with all the relationships, I really wanted to ask you, like, what really stood out for you when it came to the Forever series?
Immediately the relationship that stood out to me was the relationship between Eric and Dawn, both as parents and as in partners in their relationship. When it comes to parenting, we see Eric as being the kind of laid back parent to where he's not stressing about Justin being hurt or anything like that. He wants Justin to have experiences, and whether or not those experiences are going to be negative or positive, I think to Eric, it's not about being a negative or positive experience. It's about having an experience and learning from those experiences. Dawn, on the other hand, of course, wants Justin to experience life. She also wants to caution Justin into not making the wrong decision. And she wants to keep him from being hurt. But Eric's position is that let the boy get hurt. He has to have an experience. He has to be able to develop, almost like building up, your immune system. You have to go out into the world to build up your immune system. You have to go out and live life in order to build up your own force field in these experiences that you're going to have, whether they're good or bad, so that you can learn from them and then make choices based off of your experiences, not make choices based off of what you think could possibly happen in a situation that you haven't experienced before. So I think it's just a beautiful balance between them as parents, and then also just as people who love each other, partners in their relationship. I think it's a beautiful example. Like, we see them fight and tussle a little bit.
Tussle?
They cuss each other out under their breaths. Shit. Like, they cuss a little bit, but then also, like, it's not like there's no hate at all. It's just, it's all in love. Like, that's the parenthetical to their relationship. It's this with love, or the asterisk to their relationship. It's with love. And I love them so much.
I am definitely on board with your analysis with them, especially with the different parenting style. I definitely see Dawn parenting from a place of anxiety. Like, I feel like in her professional career that she is really like risk averse. She wants to project forward and try to make decisions in the now that can prevent like a negative outcome in the future. And I think that also translates to her parenting style. In the beginning, when she's trying to go to the New Year's party, he didn't give her really a lot of details. And she's like, they're, shooting Black boys out here in the street. And she has so much anxiety around him driving because she's trying to be like, a forward thinker and think, okay, how can we eliminate unnecessary risk? Because, at the end of the day, she wants to make sure that her kids are safe and that they can grow up and then they can do well. Because you see how she be pressing him about going to Northwestern and just having clear vision for his future. I really love the balance between Dawn and Eric because a lot of people were saying like, oh, they were tussling, and they were, but I really appreciate that it wasn't the Cliff and Claire dynamic where people kind of idolize, like, oh, they're like the version of Black love. Like, this was imperfect. They're two imperfect people living in today's society, trying to make their relationship work, trying to keep their traditions. I don't know if you peep like the Christmas tree that was still up after New Year's, like, yes. So Black coded. And, the respect and love that they have for each other, like, I saw myself and my husband in them because it's just like, you have strong personalities. Even though Eric's a little bit more like outwardly presenting as chill, he's very strong-willed. He defends his kids, he defends his wife. Like that scene at Martha's Vineyard, like I loved everything about that because I think that too often, like on social media and just, the shows that we watch, you don't see a lot of Black men outright defending their love for a Black woman. And so, the conversation around like Black women are just too much. And you see that Justin kind of has that thought process because he's like, oh, are you divorcing mom? Like, because she's a lot. And he goes and he's just like, if something ever were to happen, just know that she left me, that she's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Uh-huh.
And oh my gosh, it shook, like I got so emotional because there's just no, for me, I have never seen such a greater depiction of protect Black women, protect Black women's love, recognizing her value in that moment because it literally challenged that cultural myth of a difficult Black woman and how she doesn't deserve a partner or a loving partner. I mean, we hear it all the time. There's a lot happening right now in regards to what Black women deserve. So between them as a couple, I was just like, yes, like it's not about perfection. It's about I'm committed to you. I'm here day in, day out with you. I love you and I respect you. And I'll tussle. We'll have different opinions, but it doesn't mean that we are not deserving of each other.
Yes, I agree. You made me think of another scene in the very first episode when Justin got in trouble with Dawn, and there was that argument. Maybe not an argument, but they were, they were having a conversation that was a little bit heated. And Eric stayed in the kitchen, Dawn went into the bedroom, and Justin is there alone with Eric. And, I can't remember exactly what he said to his father Eric, but Eric was saying something like she's not upset, she's scared. And she was like,
Woo!
which I'm like, he understands his woman. He understands the subtext. I think a lot of people in general don't understand subtext. And specifically, I think a lot of us men do not understand subtext. It's like, okay, I'm hearing one thing, but what does it actually mean? You're saying one thing, but like, I know you mean something else. So I'm going to listen to what you're saying and then decode what you're saying. Okay, I hear you're saying you're upset because this, and this. You're not okay. Wait, you're not upset, even though that's what I think I'm hearing. You're actually scared. You're afraid for our son. And so he said, yes, your mother is scared. She's not upset. And then Justin was like, the girl that this is Keisha, and he was like, wait, Keisha? My son got a Black woman. You should have led with that. And then Justin goes, takes his father's advice,
Put
shows
him on
up,
game.
puts him on game, shows up as Dawn hops out the shower, and then they're talking, and he was like, yeah, I did hope she was worth it. And he's like, yeah, it was, for Keisha. And he's like, and Dawn's like, Keisha? Is Keisha Black? Black Keisha? It changes her perception. And I think that's just another beautiful moment of like both Dawn and Eric instilled in their son, their oldest, their firstborn love, that you know, Black is beautiful. Black women are beautiful. Black women deserve to be loved. And they, in my opinion, were an imperfect, perfect example of what that Black love looks like.
Yeah,
And so that Justin was like, I want that. And
yeah.
I found mine. I found my Black love. Like, I love that scene so much. And I also love that scene with Eric and Justin in Martha's Vineyard. It
It took me out.
cut me to the quick. That
Right here, right here. Right
love.
there. I mean, it was so beautiful. And like what you said around like the subtext, like a lot of people do lack emotional intelligence in relationships. Like you can't just listen to the words, you also have to listen to the emotions. Like you have to look at that person as you're talking to them, see how what they're saying and how they're physically showing up, their facial expression, see how it all aligns because that's the complete message. And so he was able to not take it personally. Like when he's able to tell Justin, like, she's not mad or she's scared. And it humanizes her because, the whole told him the angry Black woman, like there's so many emotions that we experience that people will typecast to just anger. And it's not just that. She's scared. She feels out of control. She doesn't know how to communicate that to you. So you get this, presentation, but that's what's going on.
Yeah, and that makes me think of something else. I can't remember exactly what Justin said, but it looked like and it sounded like Justin was trying to connect with his dad on like a bro level, like saying women, right? It felt like Justin was doing that, and Eric shut it down. Nah.
Shut down. You
Shut
hear
it down.
me?
And again, the asterisk, the parenthetical is with love in all of this, all of it. He didn't shut it down like that. No, son, you're stupid. It's like, no, son, you idiot. No, son, you're acting like, no. There was no name calling. There was no putting down. It was just like, yes, I can be the externally, not happy go lucky. I can be the externally chill dad,
Yeah. Relatable.
internally relatable. Like
Mhm.
it's I have to give you some real information. That is not whatever you're seeing on these podcasts with men talking about relationships and stuff. This ain't that. I don't know if it was intentional, but what I got from it was that. Because Justin was trying to bond with his father over like even in that scene later where it's like, your mom getting a divorce? In episode 5, your mom getting a divorce on the bench. It's like, no, just know that if we ever get a divorce, she left me. It's
Right.
like again, reinforcing this ain't that.
And
Whatever they talk about
protecting
on the
their
show.
love. Like you're gonna respect it. Like you protect your love through respect. Like you don't let anyone just have these misconceptions about it or anything like that, even if it's your own child. And that's what I appreciate about them, that even if they may have been divided on the topic, they were united in their commitment to figure it out together, regardless. So I do want to transition because we had a few more couples. And before we do get to Justin and Keisha, I want to talk about Keisha and Christian.
Mm.
Keisha and Christian, I mean, they are the community's power couple. They call him the future LeBron. There's so much communal expectations around that relationship. And there were so many decisions that were made with Keisha and her mom, Shelly, and Shelly's friends. And there was a lot, cue prom scene, that people are invested in that relationship working. And I really want to like get your thoughts around the community expectation for like a specific like black couple to win or to be the next power couple. Like what's your take on that?
I mean, it felt very much like a projection of Shelly and family's desire to be loved, right? It felt like a projection of, oh my God, this is happening just the way that we imagined. And like I don't blame them for that. I don't blame anybody for that. And I don't blame anyone for the same way that we watch the show and we're like, that is beautiful. I love that representation. Yes, I feel like Shelly and crew and family saw that in Christian and Keisha. It's like, oh my God, this is beautiful. I can see it all playing out. It's almost as if they were envisioning themselves in that situation and
That part.
what that could be and just like and also maybe even Shelly feeling like yes I did, even though this was hard, this is what I got to produce a young black woman who is being loved and being showered with gifts and oh look at this beautiful this prom and oh going to prom with the perfect guy and oh he's going to the NBA, oh look at the Rolls Royce. It was like an idea of what that beauty and what that love looks like, but not truly understanding what Keisha wanted at her core. And
Yeah.
mainly because Keisha wanted to protect her mom, wanted to protect Shelly. And it's like you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes it's hard to ask the questions to figure out what it is that you need to know. So Shelly didn't know to ask any questions about Keisha and Christian. Like she had no inkling that there was something
I
going
want
on.
to challenge that. I want to challenge that because there was a moment where she saw that there was something weird happening with Keisha every time that something like dealing with Christian would come up. I think it was the flower scene. I think her friends were there, and she was just like, "Why are you like acting weird?" And then she gave her a look, and then remember Keisha went to her room, and she went to go sit next to her, and she was like, "Hey, like, is there anything I need to know? Is there anything that's going on?" Because she had a sense that something wasn't all the way there. And you're absolutely right. Like Keisha protected her mom more so because, don't want to have to deal with the weight of disappointment. Because, at the end of the day, Shelly wants to know that she's a good mom, that she did right by her daughter. And when you see the parallels between Shelly and Keisha's dad, like he's a whole baseball player, right? I don't know if she did any sports, but like he was drafted at one point. You know what I mean? I mean, he didn't go, but he was drafted. So he's like this like celebrity in a sense for them at the time. And that's what Christian is. And I don't know if she felt like that was a do-over, if the community felt like that was a do-over, but I think more so that people don't even realize that their low-key projections is really them trying to protect their hope and what they believe could be a possibility for them. So I don't know if, it was a redemption story for Shelly. I don't know if, Shelly's friends and everybody else like envisioning how their life is going to turn out when he makes it because, proximity to power. So it's just like they're looking out for their best interests. Everybody's like, oh, he's going to come back to the community. They have this whole prom situation. And it's you literally see the manifestation of hope in every individual that literally outweighed in that moment what Keisha wanted for herself.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And like it wasn't even shady. That's the thing. Like it wasn't shady. It was just like this
The
is what
dream.
this is the dream.
The dream.
Fairy tale. I
The
don't know how
fairy.
how
Yes.
that word this is the fairy tale. It's happening right here before my very eyes. I
Yeah.
can't believe it. Prince
I'm
Charming.
close to it.
Yeah.
And it feels good, right? Like it
Yeah.
feels good. Like people want to be able to see that, to feel like they were a part of it, to feel like they supported it. And like I mean they it became an idol, a community idol, that relationship. And so I mean ultimately, see her transition to being in a relationship with Justin, and there was still a communal aspect to it in terms of like, they came over, the friends are mixing, family is mixing, and I felt like it was so much more personable and grounded as opposed to the family are like witnesses to like this couple on a pedestal. It felt more real.
Yeah. The community was more participating than being an audience member, which I love too.
That's
Like it
a
just
great way of saying that.
it's they got to participate. It felt more authentic. It felt like there wasn't like this detachment of like, oh, okay, superstar, okay, celebrity. It was more like, okay, family.
Fam, what's up?
That's what it was. It was that familiarity.
Absolutely. And what's so funny because like as I mean it's a coming of age story. And so you see these two characters who are like forming their identities, who are transitioning from like their parents being the authoritative voice in their life for them to them reclaiming agency. And you see how that kind of like butts head when it comes to like their decisions to be together or to split up. But there's still like generational pressure of like what it means to be a Black man, a Black woman. And I am interested in your opinion, especially when it comes to like the two different families navigating the tensions of them making decisions that like directly contradict what their parents want for them. Like, how did you take that? Because for me, I feel like I remember my moment. I remember my moment when I had to be like, all right, then we doing it or we not? Like, what was it like for you kind of witnessing that?
Yeah, it reminded me of making that transition into working in entertainment. Like I graduated from high school early and I went to college to be a mechanical engineer, but I've always been a performer. I've always either participated in talent shows or in stage plays and stuff like that. And so I felt everything Justin was going through. Like he was trying everything he could to hold on to what made him basketball, and like, you know what, I'm gonna get this scholarship. But also in the back of his mind, we saw in that first episode, like he discovered this laptop that had his beats that he used to make when he was a kid, and
Yeah.
that did something to him. That lit a fire back in him. It reminded him of like who he is at his core, and that dream that he had. And so it it is a balance. It's a beautiful balance to kind of to do, expectations externally versus your own expectations and what you want, and figuring out if what you want is what's going to make you happy, is what going to let you be successful. Because it's like if you make a decision just to make someone else happy and you follow someone else's dream, what is going to happen to you later on in life? Versus if you follow the path that I don't know if I'm going to make money from this, but this is what brings me joy. So I have to follow this path. Everything else was not working out for Justin. He was doing his best with school and stuff. And, he may or may not have had some issues in learning, some challenges in learning. He did have some challenges in learning, but he still tried his best. And in the end, he made a very tough decision to follow a path that felt great to him, to pursue music. And he compromised with his family. I'm going to take this year off to do this thing, which reminds me of Will Smith and what he actually did with his parents when he was a kid. He was supposed to go to college somewhere, I can't remember, and he took a year off to like you know what, parents, if I don't make it in this first year, I think he said something like, if I don't win a Grammy in my first year, then I'm
And
gonna quit.
did.
And then he did. Like that's
And did. I mean, that is such a like a metamorphosis when you realize at a certain point that I can choose to follow what this person wants for me, or I can choose to make my bed with resentment. Because that's what it turns into when you know that it's time for you to, start taking, your power. Like, start taking your power back. Because at the end of the day, like, even if you know what's best for yourself, some people just can't see it. And that is okay. Like, you don't have to convince them. You just recognize that at a certain point, it's just me and my thoughts. It's just me and my desires. And you can't compromise on that. Like, even when I know this is like a little challenging for some people, but when it came to Keisha telling her mom, like, I don't want you going to the authorities. And mom was like, no, like, he needs to be punished or, be held accountable. And I mean, I get it. Like, from a parent's perspective, I completely get it. But in that moment, Keisha was literally saying that this was done to me. I get to have the final say of what happens now, whether you like it or not. And I know that had to be like a frightening moment for her, because like, it's you versus your mama, like your mama who's done everything for you, who's made these sacrifices after living with the guilt of like leaving a school where you had a full ride, and now your mom is working extra in order to pay for this school that you're at. And you're like, even still, right? I am choosing something else. Like, my parents didn't, I said my parents, but my mama did not want me going off to college. She was like, my kids stay in my house until they get married. And I made the decision to go away for college. And my mama ain't talked to me for a little bit. And, okay, let me not say that. When I say a little bit, maybe like a month or two, y'all, for whoever's watching. But she was just so upset in my mind. But now in my big age, I see that she was so scared. She was so scared. But in that moment, I had to pick me and recognize that when you pick you and you make these decisions and you believe it's best for yourself, that means you're also willing to accept the consequences, both positive and negative, because you don't get to control that. You don't get to control the outcomes. And I think that the fruition of Justin and Keisha kind of stepping into their own, I was just like, Michelle Obama, yes. I was like rooting for them because they were ready to deal with whatever the outcome was, because their desire held more weight than anything else. And I was just like,
yeah.
this is good.
And I like what you said as far as like the willingness to live with the outcomes of your decisions. I think we're not willing, or we shouldn't be willing to live with the outcomes of decisions that other people make for us. Like, that's not fair. Like, you make your bed and you lie in it.
It's not fair, but we still do it, right?
We still
It's
do.
a trade-off. It's definitely a trade-off.
Yes. And I think there's a nice balance in any relationship too, whether that's a parent-child relationship or, a romantic relationship with your partner, to make decisions and to compromise and decide to live with the outcomes of decisions that are being made in whatever those relationships are. It's a compromise. But when it comes to in a situation like with Justin and Keisha in their respective lives and their futures, like, ultimately, they have to make that decision about what they want to do and what they want, because it is their life. They have to live with their life, not anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, when Justin told Dawn, I can still be who I want to be, even if you don't believe in me. that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
yo.
I was a bar.
Like, I feel like I'm getting emotional, like, all over again. Like, I'm like, why my eyes are prickly? No.
Yeah, and what's interesting is like that's also telling, because I don't think Dawn didn't believe in him. She was just like, I want to protect you. Dawn was like, I want to protect you. This is the path that's going to lead you to success and financial freedom. He's like, I'm not choosing protection. I'm choosing to live. I'm choosing to live my life no matter what happens in this life. I can't go around this life living in a bubble, afraid of what can happen to me, wanting things to just bounce off of me. If things stick, then they stick. If they bounce off, then they bounce off. but these are decisions that I'm making.
I mean, it's really giving the Truman Show. Like, you gonna stick to what you know to be true, what someone has already relegated for you, or are you gonna choose the unknown? And he's just like, at least in the unknown, I have power of choice. Like, he said that, bruh. Like, I said, bruh. He said that, and I was just like, yo, I've been there. I've been there. Believing in yourself so deeply, people not understanding you, not getting you, and you feel like you're trying to confine me to a version of me that you understand, but that's not the version of me that I want to be. And it's just like, well, can I still believe in me even if you don't believe in me? Like, can I still be me? And I just think that, like, I mean, if I was Dawn, my heart would have just like done, broke, smithereens. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Because that's his position, and it's not a position to be argued. He made a statement, and he's just like, this is what it is,
yeah.
mom, dad. I have to live with me, and I have to be okay with this. I hope that
I,
you're okay with it too, because I love you, and I know you love me, but this is the decision that I'm making. And whether I'm successful or not, whether I'm doing the things that are successful in your eyes, to me does not mean that I made the wrong decision.
volley that statement even in a relationship. How, like, can I still be me even in this relationship? Like a romantic relationship? Like, how many, I mean, you see it all the time, like people who like transform and turn into a different version of themselves, or they shrink in order to be in a relationship. And really the question is, how can you still be you inside of partnership
Right.
with someone, whether it's romantic, friendship, family? Like, it happens so often that, like, and you know, it's not like a switch.
Right.
It happens over time. It's like trolls when they start losing the color.
Yes.
You're laughing, but I feel like
Yes.
that's what it is. Like, I can't show up as me. I'm gonna start losing my color.
Right.
The thing that makes me me
Right.
disappear.
My special sauce is going to get diluted.
Just watery.
No one wants that. I don't want a diluted sauce.
Oh,
Where's the seasoning? This is
listen,
my, this is my original recipe. Why are we messing with it?
okay? Like, you don't need to know the ingredients. Just know it's good.
Exactly, right?
That's
You had a sample and you bought the whole thing, right? So let
yeah.
me cook.
You know, I mean, you have to just know who you are. And like in those situations, right, when your color is essentially fading, like I think that's like the mental health component that, you know, me, therapist. I mean, that part when whatever was happening with Justin and Keisha, and he was trying to go to school, and he was just really upset, tussling with his brother, and has this outburst. And I just saw Dawn was just like, you can stay home. You know, I was very surprised. I was so shocked because I'm so conditioned to, well, you got to push through that to perform or to show up for work or like that. I mean, I don't know if people really understood that, but she gave him permission to, you don't have to put on a mask right now. Like, go to bed and then go inside, rest, reset. And then eventually when you wake up, there's that bowl of ramen that's there because I'm meeting you where you're at. It struck a chord with me because I remember last year, the day that my grandfather died, I got a phone call about that maybe 10 minutes before my next session. And I did the session because in my mind, I was like, oh, it's too late to tell my clients, to tell this couple, hey, I can't meet with you all, because the guilt of that outweighed my need to grieve. And I just thought about if I would have had someone who was just like, it's okay. Like, you don't have to show up and hold space for anybody. You don't have to perform. Like, just go be. That right there, that scene was everything to me.
I love that scene. And that resonated with me because growing up, I went to school every day. I had perfect attendance until I went to college. I went to school every day, whether I was sick or not. Here's a correlation that I want to make. So we saw that Justin was in a space mentally, emotionally. And as he was getting ready to go to school with other people, he started tussling with his brother for the front seat. So let's think about like a sickness. So let's think about like the flu. Like you should stay home so you don't infect other people. The first person he came into contact with, his brother, they started tussling. Who knows what would have happened later if he had went to school? Who knows if, a child goes to school with a sickness, with the flu, who else they're going to infect? Who
Fact.
knows who else that is going to affect? Dawn saw that something was off. Dawn saw that her son needed something. And I love that she recognized that. That was a beautiful moment where she, she clocked it and we saw it. We saw that Don looked at her son, saw him go in the back seat, put the headphones on and like go into a space. She clocked it and she was like, go rest, go do whatever you need to do. And it wasn't, and again, the asterisk was love. Do whatever you need to do. Woke up to a bowl of ramen. He sent that message to Keisha when he woke up, blocked her, deleted everything, tossed the phone, left the room. He did what he needed to do so that he could heal.
I think just also just recognizing your limits, because in that moment he wasn't able to recognize it, but his mom did, and that form of protection and love. I just think how often that we can grant that to people in our lives. Like even sometimes just talking to my homegirls, and it's just like, I can't do this, and I'm just like, why can't you? Like, what's literally the worst that could happen if you chose you right now? If you decided to slow down, and sometimes just being able to hear that allows us to give ourselves permission to really just take a beat. Like you would treat yourself according to what you believe you deserve. And even if he wasn't able to see it for himself, later on, you start, like when he woke up and he sent that text message, that wasn't prompted by anybody. That was him. And this is the same kid in the beginning who didn't really have the words, who would send songs with lyrics to communicate how he felt about Keisha or where he was. So like just even with that, just the transition of him building the language to being able to convey his heart's desires, his boundaries with his parents, with Keisha, with himself, like that, I mean, it took time, obviously, but you saw the progression of him being able to say, you know what? I like this. I don't like this. I don't need this. I want, like, he learned how to take care of himself. He learned how to stand up for himself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the language component. I didn't even think about that till now. There was a lot of nonverbal communication, and it started with sending the song, which I think was such an Easter egg to like where he needed to go in his path. It's intentional, in my opinion, like it has to be. And then he built the language. I mean, even I'll go back to the nonverbal communication and just the Easter eggs that are being left. I believe he was with a speech therapist in that first episode too.
Yes, as the speech pathologist.
Yes. And so building upon his ability to communicate, both non-verbally and verbally, and just to put together thoughts all the way to the end where he got to communicate with Keisha and communicate with his parents, like, this is what I need, this is what I don't need, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. And to do it in such a beautiful way.
And this was another hot topic in terms of the communication, in terms of like blocking, ghosting, and all of that, especially in relationships. Like, you know me, like I'm a couples therapist. I'm a huge proponent on communicating. Like, let's not block. Let's have conversation. And if you choose to do whatever afterwards, okay. But like, what's your take on that in terms of like how communication was shown in healthy ways and unhealthy ways?
There was a very authentic portrayal of communication. Very authentic. The immediate blocking, in the beginning, the immediate blocking, the not listening to understand, the assumptions that were being made. I mean, even when I think about like when we first saw Christian at the park pull up with Shelly, and then Christian and Keisha go off to have a conversation, and then Justin and his mom Dawn were just sitting there to just kind of watch what was going on, and like there was just a lot of communication errors, and which is like happens on that path. It's
The assumptions.
the assumptions that happen when it's just like we can clear this up by communicating what we're going through. Even in when they would text, we would see them texting their true
Yes,
thoughts,
and it was deleted.
and
And
then
I'm
be like,
like, no, send it.
send that shit. Send it. They need
But
to
honestly, but honestly, the price of vulnerability at that moment felt too high for them. And that's why they deleted it. It's not that they couldn't be vulnerable. The cost of vulnerability at that point was just too high. It's just like, yeah, I'm good. Okay. And I remember my husband sitting next to me, we're watching this show, and he's like, yeah, I've been there. And I'm like, like, send the message, because that is an opportunity for connection. But like you said, like, it was authentic, and it honestly showed the growth, because like the way that they would talk to each other in person was so much like deeper. It was more nuanced. Like they know how to communicate, but that shield with texting, even with FaceTiming, they were a lot more open with each other. But that,
because even like, let me see, I believe it was after Martha's Vineyard, maybe before, maybe after Martha's Vineyard, when like he was talking about girlfriend and stuff, and he was about to text her. will you be my girlfriend? And then he deleted that and FaceTimed her. And so like that was another step, another position of growth in their relationship and communication that I thought was just so intentional and so beautiful. It's like, nah, pick up the phone and call me.
That's
Like
that building up
nothing
emotional
lost.
intelligence. I'm just like, yes, don't text the girl to ask her out. Like, FaceTime. That girl got on 3 buses and a bike for you. Woo! I said 3 buses. My.
Like was out there hunting him down, doing everything she first of all, flew across the country with her friend to stay with the
And shout out to Chloe, a real one, a real one. Cause she literally told her, you need to talk to him and like get over yourself. Like, we all need friends like that. I am that friend. Don't call me if you don't want to know me telling you about yourself, okay? That's just the type of person I am. But like you said, with love. And also she saw the possibility. So with that, I'm just thinking about like the ending, right? And how it ended, like the red and blue scene. They got to have ramen, like the second real first date. Like, I mean, beautiful scene. But I know that people were like, well, what type of ending is this? This was before we knew that there's going to be a
right.
season 2. So congratulations, Mara, on season 2. If you watched this, congratulations. We're so proud of you. We can't wait to talk about this again in season 2.
Yes.
But yes, how it ended.
Hmm.
My gosh. I loved it.
I loved it too.
I loved it. I didn't need them to like reconcile and oh, we're dating. Like they're going to 2 different colleges, 2 different life experiences that are about to happen. Well, he has a gap year, right? But I like that that they could still say like, I do love you. Like this wasn't forever thing. Like this, was it a year? It was a year of them knowing each other, that it was still meaningful. It was still impactful, even though they were teenagers. And it doesn't mean just because we're going off to, separate places that what we experienced was invalid.
Right. Right. I think it just left us with an ellipsis, not a period. And again, like not knowing that there was going to be season 2 at first, I was like, what? But it's like, no, remember, this goes on forever. We may not be seeing what's happening next, but just know that their lives are continuing, which I thought was just so beautiful. Even though I was like, but what happens in college? Like, what are they going to get back together? What if this? What if that? What if Justin does become a big time producer and stuff? What if she does become a track star? And like, what happens then? I guess we'll stay tuned to see what happens next. But I love the maturity, because there was maturity in emotion, there was maturity in intelligence, there was maturity in communication all throughout the season that left space for more growth and more experiences, which I think is the point.
Absolutely. It's like the first love that someone experiences, no matter your age. Like there's so many lessons that come from that. And I think that that last date was them extending appreciation for each other. I mean, they grew so much through, was it a 7 series, or I think it was, I'm not 7 series, 7 episodes. I think it was 7 number of completion.
Right, something like that.
But regardless, it's just like they have a genuine appreciation for each other. And that the forever in all of this was just like, you matter. Like what we had mattered. And any other relationship that they decide to be in will stem from their experiences from each other. Like you cannot tell me that anybody who's in a relationship now, who's had previous relationship, that there's not residuals, there's not lessons that you learn, there's not improvements that you've made because of past situations. It may not have been the best. You take something with you as you experience people. And I mean, it was soft. Like I've seen a lot of commentary around like waiting for the other shoe to drop, or someone getting shot, or something traumatic happening. And it wasn't that. It was ordinary teens, like navigating, the start of adulthood, intimacy, communication, navigating family, learning how to communicate, learning how to speak up for themselves. It's like the messiness of adolescence that didn't have to come with like a cloak of trauma. And for that, I'm just forever grateful that I could just enjoy it, even though at certain points I was like, calm down, nervous system, nothing's gonna happen. Like that whole cop moment with the car got me, but that ties into what Don was telling him about being careful. But outside of that, I just got to enjoy the show.
Yeah. I got to enjoy the show. I got to have so many lessons. I got to feel seen as well, which I think is another point. It got to showcase in my opinion, the best co-star, which is Los Angeles. It's the best co-star.
You know, I love LA. I love LA.
It's just so much representation. And like you said, it didn't have to have this cloak of trauma associated with it. Keisha did have an experience that I imagine is traumatic that, will be a memory that she has that she no longer has to hide from because now,
Or
her
hold
village,
by herself.
yeah, her village supports her now. And
Mhm.
now she doesn't have to have that shame of like, what if they shun me? What if they turn their back on me? Because she is supported and she is loved through
Yeah.
it, which is beautiful. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Wanted to ask you last thoughts around Forever. Like, if you had, well, I don't want to say if you had to use like 4 words to describe it, but like, how would you describe it in like 4 words?
It is an authentic love story and journey through adolescence into adulthood.
Yeah, an authentic love story that like you can find teens here in the States, in LA, who can say, I've seen this, I've navigated different points. I've had these conversations with my parents, like the dynamic with the friends trying to figure it all out. Like it was so relatable. It was so relatable. It's such a gift. Like black
Absolutely.
teens just get to be. Like it ain't all.
Yeah.
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 That.
Yeah, it was good. It's
Outstanding.
like a weighted blanket. Good.
Yes.
Weighted blanket. Good.
It was like a good hug.
A good warm.
Comforting.
Tristan, you are amazing. Thank you so much for
Thank you, Vanessa.
agreeing to do this with me. I mean, I know you are famous, but for some reason, if someone does not know about you, where can they find you?
All my handles are at Tristen J. Winger, everywhere where you are.
Please, y'all follow him. Like best content, you'll see his dog. The dog has his own page, which is amazing. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Please, while you're here, like and subscribe, comment. Tell me your favorite thoughts about Forever. If you watched the series, if you haven't already, go ahead and watch the series, then come back and watch this and then give us your thoughts. So thank you so much for watching. Tristan, once again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.